working to strengthen Megan's Law. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me this hour is Pennsylvania State Representative Thomas Murt. Thanks for being with us.
Hi, Jill. Great to be here.
Let's talk a little bit about how Megan's Law currently works in Pennsylvania. Give us an idea as to what the provisions currently include.
Essentially, Jill, Megan's Law requires convicted sex offenders to register with the state. And what the mission or the objective is of Megan's Law is to know where these sex offenders are. We want to know what communities in which they live, and this information is made available to residents. They can go to the Pennsylvania State Police website, type in their zip code, and they could find out if any registered sex offenders live in their community. This information is powerful to a parent because we want to know if a sex offender is living in our neighborhood, living in our community, and we can be extra vigilant relative to the safety of our children. And Megan's Law evolved out of a very tragic case of a young girl who was murdered by a sex offender in New Jersey. And Megan's Law has caught on across the country, and Pennsylvania takes this responsibility, takes this legislation very seriously.
Now, legislation varies by state. Let's talk a little bit about some of the ways that you're working to strengthen the provisions of Megan's Law here in Pennsylvania. One of the provisions that you're working on is related to out-of-state offenders. Talk to us about what currently happens and what you want to change.
Jill, no piece of legislation is perfect, and that is the case with Megan's Law as well. We have discovered that Megan's Law did not specifically address out-of-state sex offenders that move into the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We are looking at some legislation right now that requires sex offenders in another state that move into the Commonwealth. They must go to the state police and they must register. We want to know where they live. Furthermore, they will be photographed, and the failure to register, the failure to complete that process could result in 10 years in state prison. And we think that this is critically important. And again, we said that information is powerful, information is critical here. We want to know if a sex offender from another state that moves into Pennsylvania, we want to know where they are. And out-of-state sex offenders moving into the Commonwealth or moving from the Commonwealth to another state is fairly common, because we know that convicted sex offenders frequently are subjected to public scrutiny and humiliation, and sometimes are very ashamed of what they have perpetrated, and they will frequently move to another state to get a fresh start.
And that's one of the provisions you're working on. Another one is also related to access to information. Currently, individuals can look up, as you mentioned, whether a sex offender is in their zip code on the state police website, but you're looking to incorporate email alerts as well.
That's correct, Jill. There's a House bill that has been proposed this legislative session that directs the Pennsylvania State Police to send out an email alert to a specific geographic community if a sex offender locates in that area. And we think that this is being very, very proactive. And with the advent and with the existence of technology, that these email alerts can be very focused, can be very quick, very efficient, and will be a very effective way of notifying a community that a convicted sex offender is living in that geographic area.
Are members of the community notified at this point?
At this point, they are not notified. The information is available if an individual goes onto the Pennsylvania State Police website. Not only can you type in your zip code and find out how many sex offenders are in your community, you can actually get their pictures as well. The pictures are very, very important. That's one of the reasons that we require a sex offender from another state who comes to Pennsylvania to be photographed. So that's part of the public record.
All right, come back, give us an update. Let us know how these bills, they're part of a package, are progressing.
That's correct. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you. We've been talking with Pennsylvania State Representative Thomas Murt. I'm Jill Horner for Comcast Newsmakers.